Okay, so we are live. Okay. Welcome to our second NFT episode, and this time around we are talking on NFT creative process. Okay, so minutes. Yes. So um, with me is a brief introduction of stage. All right. So um, it's going to be a wonderful session. The last time we had this live meeting, we talked on um, what's how to create wealth in the NFT space, and then we hosted Mr. Chat with Max, uh, engagement from our community, and it was a wonderful time. Now this time around, based on popular demand, we want to look at. Okay, so we already know what NFT is, at least from our last meeting. We know what kind of wealth that can be created through NFT, a mindset we need to have for us to properly take advantage of the NFT of the NFT space in blockchain. So uh, now you know the advantage to how you can benefit from it. Now the question is, okay, so last time we talked about different aspects of the NFT space, depicting the that we see in normal art gallery, normal auctions and all of that. And then we also have the creative space. And we saw different types of NFTs last time. We talked about okay, music NFTs, graphical NFTs. We even talked about using GIFs, all right, to create NFTs. Okay, so right now I want to focus on the creative part of NFT, all right, and want to really focus on the okay, you're a designer. How can you get into this space? How can you take advantage of NFTs? I mean, the NFT industry is just one part of the blockchain industry, all right, just one part of Web 3. All right, some persons still call it, although some persons call it Web 4. Well, but the NFT industry is still huge and we are relatively early. So we want the goal of this meeting is for you to get the necessary knowledge, all right, exposure that you need, all right, for you to take decision. Okay, so none of what we do here is financial advice, all right, but we hope that it guides you in your decision making. Having said that, uh, I would like to get uh, feedback from my audience. If you're live, just want to hear from you. Just say hey, hi, hello, drop something encouraging. All right, let us let us know that we are flowing. Okay, so I would like to hear get the feedback. I can see Mr. Richard is saying hello. Know that we have a okay. Before I bring to the stage our guest. Oh, wow, Mr. Kingsley. Mr. Kingsley, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yes, yes, we are so happy you're alive with us. Just say something, respond. Yes, we are so happy to have you. Okay, yes, I can see Mr. Ifeanyi Emmanuel. That's a nice one. I can see Mr. Ifeanyi Emmanuel, and I'm so happy to have you guys on this call. Yes, so I would now introduce our guest to the podium. So um, to start with, my own first encounter with Mr. Chukundi was indirect, okay, through a friend, and it was an artwork that he designed that actually piqued my interest. Um, it was a very intriguing one, and that's how I got to know about him. And then I decided to bring him on this call to actually share with us his own experience. And then I am so pleased that he he has agreed to join us on this call. Okay, so permit me to introduce to you Mr. Chukwudi.
Hi, hi, can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me? It's a pleasure being here. Hello. Hello. Hi guys. Can you hear me?
Sorry about that. I had network issues.
Yeah, it
Sorry about that.
does.
I had network issues. Okay. So, um, please, introductory remarks. Welcome to Mr. Chikwudi. All right. So, yes, welcome to the stage, Mr.
Yeah,
Chikwudi.
it's nice being here. It's great being
Hello,
here.
can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I guess it's having some connectivity issues. Anyways, let's just go ahead. Um, Mr. Fabari. Well, it was nice. It's nice being here. I'm really glad I came up on this. Let's just go ahead since it's having some connectivity issues right now. So, my name is Chukwudi Iwundu. Um, I'm an artist, an NFT artist, and you know, being in the NFT space is it's pretty exciting, and it's a big space. A lot of things happening, and I'm just glad I'm here to be able to share with you some of those things. And if you're wondering, like, how did I start? You know, I've been an artist basically. I paint, draw, but no NFT. Getting into the NFT was a whole different ball game completely. You know, how it started, if I'm going to be very honest, how it started was from fan arts. You know, NFT projects come up and you're trying to win a whitelist. One of the ways to get money from NFT, you're trying to win a whitelist, and one of the methods was like to make a fan art. And then I was like, okay, yeah, I'm good at this. I've been a digital artist for long, and then I decided to create something very unique for the whitelist, and then yeah, it got some good publicity, and then you know that's how I got in. You can't see a work like that and then not want to have the person as your artist. So that's how I got into the NFT space. True, but I call it luck, not luck, but like that was the whole process behind it. And talking about my experience so far, it's been good. Definitely not all days are like rosy, but so far it's been good. The only issue, like if you're getting into NFT right now, the thing is that everybody wants to jump into NFT. They're looking for an artist, they're looking for an NFT artist, and they want to do a project, but most of them, they don't know what it takes to create a solid project. You know, they don't know what it takes to create a solid project, and they just want to jump into it because there's a lot of money, and they don't have the efficiency or the planning or even the funding to get into it. They come up and tell an average artist that okay, yeah, I have this idea, I have this idea. Everybody has ideas, but can you execute it? I have this idea, and they'll be like, okay, make the artwork, and then we'll fund you once the project is already started. But that's not feasible. It's really, when doing it that way makes it really hard for the artist. So that's the only, I think that's the main issue everybody needs to be aware of when jumping into the NFT space. They need to just be very careful of the projects, and then the artists that the projects, and then the people that they try to associate with. By the way, can everybody hear me? Like, can everybody hear me clearly? If you can't hear me, just drop a yeah, I can hear you on the comment section. Is anybody there? Okay. So basically now, you know, what does it take to be an NFT artist? You've got to know how to draw. That's the basic. That's the basic kind of thing. You have to be able to draw, and everybody says they drew once or twice when they were kids, but now you actually need to be able to draw real good, real good, and be able to create good mix of colors, and you just need to be very artistic. You don't need a lot of skill. You don't need a lot of skill to be able to pull it off, but you just need to be able to do a really good job. So, there are tools I use. There are different tools. They are Procreate, but I use the basic Photoshop. Photoshop is like the basic tool that anyone can use. It's accessible. You can download it. Get it for free. You can pay for it. You know, Photoshop, Illustrator. You don't need so many tools to create good art, but you just need one that you've understood and trusted it like so well. So I personally use Photoshop, and then I just use that, and then a mix of sometimes Illustrator, but basically most times it's Photoshop and other tools you need to get. When I started off, honestly, I started off with a mouse. No, definitely it won't do a really great job, but with a mouse you can actually do something real good. But with time you need to invest in a graphics tablet. You need to invest in a graphics tablet, stylus, and actually most people think that when you're trying to get something like a graphics tablet, you need to spend thousands of dollars on Wacom. You need to spend thousands of dollars on whatever products, but on Jumia, Konga, you can get a good graphics tablet for as low as 30,000. You can get as low as 25,000, and it won't display it on the tablet, but it'll just be like a drawing pad. Once you have that drawing pad, you can go ahead to like execute a very good ton of works. This, what I'm talking about currently, is just for like image NFT. Now when it comes to things like music NFT, and some people call it literature NFT, that's a whole different story. But once it comes to design, you need to get good materials, because that is the only way you can be able to create good works. Drawing with a mouse alone is not going to work so well. You just need to invest yourself and your time on good resources. Photoshop, graphics tablets that's pressure sensitive, and then you're good to go. You can splurge on more expensive materials if you want. I basically don't use those, but more expensive the better. As far as it brings, the most important thing is that you invest in these materials brings back profits to you. You know, so Those are the basic tools I use. How did I start using them? You can get tutorials from YouTube. YouTube is a wonderful place to get a lot of information. You can literally just binge watch a lot of videos on design, and you can binge watch a lot of videos on design and how to use Photoshop or maybe Procreate or maybe Sketch. You can binge watch that and then just get to it. Make your first design, you know, then make your second design. Try different techniques out. When I started, I tried one technique. It was okay, but it wasn't giving me what I wanted. I kept trying different techniques until you find one that suits you, one that just makes everything feel good, you're comfortable with it. And from there on you make it yours. You just keep improving on it and keep making more works, and yes, that's basically it. Now once you've gotten the skill down, once you've gotten the skills down, you need to get your mind, set, because to be very honest, creating NFTs takes a lot, a lot of creative juice, because you take one sample image and then you have to replicate it 100 times, 200 times, depending on what you are given. And that takes a lot of creative juice. Yeah, there's some AI out there that once once you get a few components, it can mix it up together and just mix match it and give you thousands of NFTs. But that has a lot of design limitations. It's not a human being. It has design limitations, and even getting such a software will cost you a bit. Well, maybe not exactly as much as it costs you to get a traditional artist, but they would prefer having like a design team give you proper NFTs. So it takes a lot of creative juice. And how do I go about getting the kind of inspiration I need to create an NFT? I could go to Pinterest. I can even go and look at other people's NFTs. You have the way most project works is that you have like a base image to work with, and you're to like replicate edit that particular image. So if you have the base image already done, you just need to have ideas, crazy ideas. The crazier the idea, the better. Some of them might be in a particular theme, a particular color palette or color theme. There are some NFTs are like really bold, punchy colors. There are some that like it more like Jikan, that likes it more dull, not necessarily dull, but has a nice overlay to it. You just need to follow their scheme, but just be more creative with your sketches. You know, you can get um you can get ideas from other artists. In fact, the best way of getting ideas is getting it from other artists, because there's truly nothing new under the sun. You might come and say, I want original straight from my head, but ultimately there's nothing that comes straight from your head, because you know I, ideas and inspiration comes from things you've seen, things you've touched, things surrounding you. For instance, you can come and say, okay, you know, this is a chair. Why don't I do an NFT mix with a chair? Or no, maybe you're holding your phone, and then should I do something with him holding his phone? And maybe wearing the exact same clothes you're wearing. Maybe give it an eye patch. You know, you find yourself reusing things that you're more familiar with from project to project. That's why it's always good to, look at new. It's just like feeding your mind. There's sometimes I like to just go back and then I'll scroll through. A lot of art. I just take it all in. You know, I have a friend that has this book of contemporary art. Those are like sources of inspiration. You just need to be able to draw from others, make it yours, and deliver back in your own style and in your own skill. That I know we've talked about the style and the skill, and you just be able to take it in and then be able to deliver it back to the art. You don't need to be too meticulous about it, in the sense that a lot of times artists would want to spend a lot of detailing, spend a lot of time trying to detail, trying to get everything perfect, but ultimately you're wasting a lot of time. This isn't just one NFT, isn't just one art. You can take. I have a painting in my bedroom. You know, I've been painting it for like 2 weeks now. That's not the case here. You know, when it comes to an NFT, you have to be quick. You know, you have to be very, very quick about it. You're going to make something good, but don't spend all your ages trying to create a masterpiece. In fact, in for any art, unless you're like emotionally attached to the art, yeah, you don't spend all your ages. In fact, there's a good chance that spending all your time overthinking will end up making you ruin it. And yeah, that's basically it. You just need to draw inspiration from your environment, draw inspiration from other artists, take it in and make it yours. And you know, I'm aware that a lot of graphic designers are actually on here, and you might be wondering, how do I switch from graphics design to you know NFTs? The thing that you need to understand is that when you're coming to NFT, you're making art. When it comes to design, I'm a UX designer. When it comes to design, there are principles. You're gonna follow this principle, the start principle. You're gonna follow this. It needs to be perfectly aligned. You need to follow proper layouts. You know, you're gonna take all those rules and you're gonna break it. You know, I think most people end up sticking to too many rules that they don't become flexible and creative enough. When it comes to NFTs, anything works. As far as it looks good, it works. You don't need to be too concerned about rules. Just needs to be something good, you know, uh, something that's going to be you know, easily understood. Something that, when someone looks at this image, it just looks beautiful to the person. When NFT started initially, and other people just came in, with projects that don't really make any sense. It doesn't really look so good. It doesn't feel so good. And yeah, they got away with it back then, but right now, you can only get away with good arts. In fact, some people go to the extent of 3D art on ZBrush. ZBrush is the best software for 3D art. It's not as complex as Blender, but um, it's actually something that take with some effort and low graphics. ZBrush uses very low graphics, and I know a bit of ZBrush, but it's not my forte. It doesn't take a very heavy PC to run that 3D software. You know, and some of my works are being displayed, and yeah, it doesn't take a lot of effort to create something good if you're just focused on creating it. Don't be too focused on rules. Rules need to be broken. Don't focus too much on the rules. And something that will help while creating, because it's not just one work, you're trying to create multiple works. Something that will help while creating is creating in a manner that is easily editable. Okay, if you look at the pictures on the screen now, you have one, and one was on a rock star kind of look, and one was on, basically cool clothes. But if you're making those kind of images, that you tend to want to erase a lot of lines. You've made one and then you erase the line And then maybe after you've gone so far on making different styles of clothing, you now realize that, oh, you've lost some of the outline, you've lost some of the detail. So it's always good to have duplicates, and make the art in sections, because if you're using Photoshop, you're working in layers, so you can leave some layer for the head, leave some layers for the body, have another layer for the clothes, have another layer for whatever object you're trying to add. Maybe if the NFT comes with weapons, like Jikan, you add the weapons in one separate layer. Or if it has some object or some everything, just do it in separate layers, so that if you want to change the clothes, you just modify only the clothes layer, and you don't end up messing with the face or messing with the objects in it, because the most important thing is trying to have good replicates. If you look at NFTs, they have good replicates. The things don't vary so much, but they vary, right? So you're trying to keep your shadows, you're trying to keep everything as similar as possible, just modifying a few things. So you just have to do it in different layers and keep duplicates of the layers, because you can have a scenario where you're working on a particular art, and then maybe you want to do something very extravagant. Maybe you're feeling good, and then you do a very extravagant design, and then trying to do something simple, you've lost all the information you have about the base image. That will be very bad, because that will mean you redrawing, and you might not draw it as perfectly, and start to see unnecessary variations. You're trying to vary the clothes, you're trying to vary the color object, but you're not actually trying to vary the person itself. We can't come and be saying, and maybe the hand bend this way, and then the next NFT bend a little bit differently, and then if you go 100 pics after that, the starting image and then the final image, they don't have very good similarity in terms of form, in terms of structure, and that's not very nice. So keep duplicates. If you want to modify the base image, duplicate it, modify it, get the original back, duplicate, modify it, get the original mark. So someone asked a question: can you do an NFT art using Canvas, or rather, does the software you use really matter while creating NFT art? So you can't really do much on Canva. Can't really do much on Canva, because Canva is strictly for graphics design. You can't really modify, because you're going to be drawing. You don't really do a lot of drawing, unless I'm wrong, but you don't really do a lot of drawing on Canva. So Canva is not ideal. Yes, it might be a struggle switching from graphic design to artist, because design comes with principles. Know the principles and you create a good design. But that's not really the case with art. Art has principles, yes, but you learn the principles and then you break the principles. That what makes art cool. Anyways, so Canva is not great. It's not, even if you can, to come with a lot of design limitations. Photoshop is very good. Photoshop is excellent. Procreate is good. Sketch is good. Um, there are some other softwares you can use. I think using Illustrator will be a good help to people used to graphic design. Yeah. So if you're used to graphic design, try Illustrator. As I said, you don't need to do very complex arts to create NFTs. They just need to look good. It's all about skill, and skill comes from information. You get the right information online. There are a lot of resources online about learning how to make good digital art. In fact, before I got into NFTs, that's digital art, I paint. You know, I paint, I draw, and I'm a really good oil painter. But when I switched, I was having a hard time, even with all the knowledge you have from oil painting. The switch to digital art was rocky, because I was trying to do everything from my own instinct, from the previous knowledge I had before on oil painting, I just went, you might do something good, taking your previous knowledge from graphics design, you might do something good, but it's at the end of the day, it's a new medium. It's a medium that comes with new principles and new understanding. So you need to do your due diligence. You need to go online and get information about how to make this art. And then, it's important getting the good information. You try different skills, try different techniques, and yeah, basically that's how to start out as an artist. And then yes, how do you land your first job? I'm going to be very honest with you here, very very honest with you here. In this life, almost everything is by recommendation. I'm going to be very honest with you here. You need to put yourself out there. You need, in fact, you need to put yourself out there so much. Applying, there are going to be roles to apply. Yeah. There are going to be times when you might apply for a job, but most times applying is a bit of a stress because you're going to be competing with thousands of people, thousands and thousands of people. And that's really difficult. Yes, you might actually succeed depending on your skill level and all that, but it's always better, especially if you're starting out, to go by recommendation. Don't ever underrate your personal circle, your private circle. Don't ever underrate them. It just takes someone that knows someone and then you're in. You just need one role. Put yourself out there. It's it's a time where NFTs are at its peak. No, I don't think there'll be a hotter time to jump into NFTs than now. Projects everywhere, Solana chain and the ETH chain, different chains going on, and you want to be in this. But the easiest way, the absolute easiest way of going in is by putting yourself out there, and then your friend goes like, hey, I know a friend that does this, and then from him you get into another person. Before you know, you've landed your first role. you know Now, but still be aware of people that just want to use you, in the sense that a lot of people want to jump into NFTs just like you here, want to jump into NFTs, but most people don't understand the basics of it. They just see that, oh, this was sold for 100 ETH, and then, oh yeah, I want to do this, I want to make money. Zero understanding, zero funding, zero knowledge, zero connection, but they want to do it, and then they'll meet you and be like, oh, let's do this, we'll pay you once the project is going. See, once you just see that, we'll pay you once the project is going, just pack your load and run. Because most of the time, there are some that are legit though. There are some that are legit and be like, okay, this is what we have, this is the issues we are facing, you know and those ones are legit. They're doing things, you can see the workings. But some random guy just comes and be like, I want to do NFT. Yeah, everybody wants to do NFT, but can you do NFT? That's the question you need to ask the guy. You need to have also understanding of basic NFTs so that you won't be swayed by mere talk. But basically, what you do, getting your friends to see what you do, and then yeah, luck will shine on you, God will shine on you. Just believe, just keep going. You can also go on Upwork, apply. There are lots of, in fact, Fiverr, Upwork. Might not be NFT roles per se, but illustration jobs, digital art jobs, even some might be coloring books. Yeah, I did a lot of coloring books. They were trying to make the coloring books into an NFT. So I did a lot of coloring books for NFTs. And yes, that's basically it. That's basically it. So I just get let Mr. Fabari take back the mic. So are you here with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Chukwudi. Um, Super impressed with the amount of knowledge you shared. It's wonderful.
Thank you very much.
All right, all right. So I would just want to ask you some specific questions. I don't know, relating to the NFT process. Yeah, relating to the NFT process. For instance, uh, do you use a specific device? Someone once said if you're going to use create NFTs, maybe you need a graphics pad, and you need a light pen, and then you draw on the screen, and that's how you create NFTs. I mean, is it, if if that's the case, okay, is it compulsory, all right, to use a graphics pad, or let me put it this way: say someone who wants to get into the NFT space but does not have, say, the financial resources to get a graphics pad, but the person has a laptop. All right, how would you advise the person to start in such a scenario?
Okay. Um, I will be very honest with you. You need to have a graphics tablet. And yeah, you can do without it for sure. I told you that when I started with a mouse. But the easiest way to start with a mouse is if you're using Illustrator. So yes, you can use Illustrator with a mouse using the pencil, but you're not making one work, you're making a dozen. And it will take a lot of time. In fact, the money might end up not being worth it because it will take a lot of time, it take a lot of effort trying to create it, trying to craft it on Illustrator. And you might not be having the kind of possibilities you have when you have a graphics tablet and a stylus. But the thing is that you don't need to splurge a lot of money on a Wacom tablet that maybe costs $1,000 or some Apple tablets. You don't need all that. On Jumia, you can get a drawing tab for like 25K, 30K, and it comes with a stylus, pressure sensitive. Everything you need is complete already, and just consider it as like a personal investment to yourself. I personally use a drawing tab. You know, I mostly work on like solid and mediums, so I can't start splurging money on like a whole Wacom tablet. No, that's not my field. But then you can create very masterful works with a drawing tab. In fact, I see no different because at the end of the day, it boils down to your skill level. A Wacom tablet is just like a screen that it display the software on the screen. But with the drawing tab, it displays it on your laptop, and then the input is from the tab. So that works best, for people working on a low budget. There are different devices out there to suit. In fact, I even saw one that was like 19K. It's a very small size though. It's a very small size, but I won't advise you to go for something that small. But then, if you're testing it out, trying to see everything, yeah, you can get for that. You can get that, test it out, save up, invest in something bigger. Because you need a lot of space. You don't want to hurt your arms. You're going to be drawing for so long, and yeah, your PC, if you want to do anything to your PC, just add a bit of RAM. Photoshop takes up a lot of RAM. You don't want your PC hanging midway or your pen strokes lagging behind. All those make the drawing so uncomfortable. So if there's anything you want to do on a budget, you can just add maybe 2 or 4 gig extra to your RAM depending on the size, and then get yourself maybe a 25K graphics tablets and graphics and drawing tablet, sorry, and you can start. You don't need to splurge a lot of money. You can start with a mouse on Illustrator, but with time, you need to move because a mouse has a lot of limitations to the kind of things you can, create. So yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, that's really really elaborate on the tool. at least the primary tool that we need. Okay, so you previously talked about a graphic artist coming into the NFT space that said the principles of design still hold sway. And I want to know or to transition from graphic design. They look similar, but they are big worlds on their own because I think NFT artists requires or creating NFT works requires you to go beyond graphic design to artworks. All right, so I would like said in going into the NFT space. I want to be an NFT artist. Are there maybe courses you recommend or kind of skill sets they will need to develop, to bridge the gap or for them to patch up their say limitations, skill sets, specific that they may not previously have had that you would recommend that they develop.
Um, okay. So yeah, graphic design and art being an artist, they are very two different things. As I said before now, graphic design has principles, design has principles. And if you know those principles, you follow them, and respect those principles, you create a good user-friendly design. But that's not the same when it comes to creating an artwork. That's why I said it has to do with creativity. Keeping skill apart, you need to focus on your creativity and other principles like colors. Colors affect graphic design too, but being able to match color value and trying to keep that balance. There's a time you can make an art and then just look so scattered, and it's not necessarily a design principle, but yes, it is too. But just trying to keep it a bit more balanced while being creative is an amazing thing. So yeah, that's basically it. You just need to be able to have a very like balanced kind of artwork. You shouldn't have so much distracting things. Whatever you're doing, it's just about, for me, my principle about art is just balance, balance, color, design, creativity behind it. You don't need to focus so much on, principles, but if you can create something, think something out that looks good, just focus on making it look good. And that's basically it.
Okay, so creativity is key. Yeah, from what you said now, creativity is key. I would. Um, okay, so there are individuals who I think who would like to know how you go about being creative, like how you find inspirations, or do you basically say you have a client and then the client says, "Oh, this is what we want to work on," and the person describes, okay, say I want to create an artwork for for instance, there are so many ape clubs. So let me say I want to create an artwork now for Hustletoria, and I want it to be a kind of uh, yeah, a kind of artwork where people are able to as though they are trying to reach out to a, a, a higher energy. All right, they are trying to emit higher energy, or they are trying to become the better versions of themselves and all of that. So if I maybe make this kind of descriptions, how do you go about it? Do you ask me specific questions and then Okay, and then after that, how do you go about being creative? Do you seek for inspiration from maybe different artworks? Do you? I just want to know how you get this creativity thing going.
Okay. So let's say, a client calls you and be like, okay, I want to work on this type of art. They give a description. Normally, they give a description, and once you get that description, the most important thing first is to clarify on it. Make sure that what they give you is what they mean. Because they might say something and they might mean another thing. So clarify, understand what they're saying, understand what they want. And once you have that down, once the understanding is clear and they just let you do your thing, you need to go and source out for ideas. And how I do that, because getting the starting image, like the base image you're going to be working with, is the hard part. It could take you days, because inspiration doesn't just come like this. you know it might take you like a few days to get that base image, and then once you get that base image, you can replicate it multiple times. So some things I do, I talked about it earlier, and I view other NFTs. I view other NFTs. I say, okay, see what's trending. No, this was happening. See what people are doing. And it's like food to your mind. You go out there, you might
Mm,
view, because I'm a huge fan of Renaissance works. You might go out there and then view what was doing the Renaissance, or view contemporary art. So just go out there and enrich in your mind, see what's happening, try to get yourself acquainted with what's going on in the digital art in the past. You get an idea, because ideas come from what you see, from what you've heard, from what you touch, from things around you, what you associate your mind with. Your mind will be able to create things. So good artists, there's a very terrible saying that a good artist copies, but the greatest artist steals. I'm not telling you to steal, but it's just trying to tell you that you're going to draw inspiration from other people. There's nothing new under the sun. Absolutely not. So once you can get an inspiration, you come back and make it yours. You create. You can start with paper sketches, because paper sketches don't have much. They don't have much attachments, because if you go ahead and start designing straight on your laptop, you might make a design that is not right, but then you spent maybe 3 hours on it already, and then you don't want to let that design go, because you'll be like, oh, I can't let my design waste. Nah, that's terrible. So you just get some paper designs down, just quick sketches, trying to get the basic form, trying to get the basic structure. And then once you get that, you can send it to your laptop, and try to replicate it, try to create the sketch, and just keep going till you get a base sketch you want to work with. And I must say something, that most of the time, people that want to draw, they want to go, if they are drawing a face, they want to go and start drawing the face. If they're drawing a hand, they want to go and start drawing the hand. You can't do all that. You need to get a basic overview. Start with shapes, basic shapes, circles, squares. Trying to use basic shape and basic forms to form the object. Don't focus your mind too much on it looking good from the start. It's the process. Once you keep going, start with rough sketches, start with basic structure, keep refining it with new layers. You might have up to like 5 layers of just you refining the object, and all of that's changing the proportion. And once you've gotten your base structure you're gonna work with, then from there is a breeze. Remember, you're gonna keep things in different layers. From there, once it might take a while to get that initial art, because it must be something that will please you and please your clients, because it has to please you first, then please your client, because that's art. If it doesn't please you, I don't think it will be able to please someone else. Please you, please your clients, and then that's it. There are some clients though that maybe after you work on something, they might ask you, oh, this is nice, can you do this for me? Especially those that just want like a one-time art. Maybe they're not trying to do a collection. You might make something, and then you'll be like, oh, can you add this here? Can you add this here? Most of the times, what they're saying is shit. Adding those things will not work, but add it. You know, add it for them, let them see. In fact, you might add it and try to make it different. You can add it and have a separate version of what you think will be best and let them see it for themselves. You're the artist, but show them it's their money. You know, that's how I see it. Different clients, different recommend different requirements. So yeah, it depends on what's happening. If it's a collection, they'll probably let you do your thing after reviewing the first art. But if it's like a single piece, you know, they want to revise and revise and revise, and you have your limits on how much you can revise. Yes, but you know, yeah, you just need to focus on pleasing yourself and pleasing them.
Okay, okay. So I think this will be like the last question. I can't see any question from my audience right now. So quick question. You mentioned you get inspiration from Renaissance artists. I want to know, what is your number one Renaissance artist? I mean, somebody who you love their work so much, and you view their work. So just give me just one name. Yes.
Okay, so first of all, I'm just trying to hope that there's no art guru here to scold me, but uh, I love Picasso, and I love. In fact, if I'm going to be very honest, the Renaissance style I like more is the artists that recreate that feel but in contemporary form. So it's still Renaissance feel, but it's like mixed with contemporary. So artists like Okolo, Oliver, they're all contemporary artists, but they paint with a touch of Renaissance to it. We have, I think, one of my favorite artists ever, Harmonia Rosella, and yeah, Harmonia. They're all contemporary, like currently alive. But then, I love Picasso because of his quotes. His quotes speak so much to me, and that quote was that he doesn't like when someone asks him about the meaning of an art, and he actually points to a gun each time asking the meaning of the art, because to him each art should reflect its own meaning to its viewer. You don't need to stress about that when it comes to NFTs, but that's just something to take home with. Each art to have its own reflection to its viewer. It shouldn't have like a standalone meaning. Yeah, it could do that, but it should be able to translate to the minds of who views it or not. So basically, but I like Harmonia Rosella a lot. You should check her out. She's amazing. Anyways,
All right. So I I would say I love your tastes. I love your
thank you.
tastes. I have a particular liking. Yeah, I have a particular liking too for Renaissance artists.
Yeah.
Although I love Da Vinci's works, and I've yeah. So I I think recently I was watching documentaries on some art this really yeah. So thank you very much for the privilege having you on this call, and then having to share a lot of tips to with the community, and with the of course the global audience who is on YouTube, who are on YouTube. I beg your pardon. So thank you very much for um, this privilege. It's an honor to host you.
I'm glad being here. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. So if um, the community members want to reach out to you, okay, I think they can reach out to me. I'm going to direct them to you, or is there a way um, you want them to approach you? Do you have a preference?
Um, Not really. You can send me an email though. If you want to get to me directly, maybe for a project, or maybe you just want to talk, maybe some questions, you can send me an email, or maybe you can text my Twitter, although I'm not there so much, but you can send me a text on Twitter, Chooks underscore Iwundu. but you can
Okay.
send me an email basically.
Okay. So can
That's
you just type the email in the comment section so that okay, or just share it with me. So I'm going to share it or give it to me. Let me just type it out for them so they can all come back later and find it. So forward it.
all right. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to send it now, and hopefully, hopefully anybody who has maybe inquiries or maybe want to create an artwork and they want to get you to be on the project, hopefully they are going to reach out to you via mail. Okay, so um, yes, so it's once again it's a pleasure hosting you, and
Thank you so much.
yeah, so this is where we call it a wrap. This is where we wrap it up, and thanks everyone for joining this wonderful call. It's my pleasure having you on this call. So till our next episode, I want to say have a wonderful night and enjoy yourselves. Okay.